I want to show you how I work with high frequency words and just to keep record of what my student is doing with high frequency words. I used to keep a list and I would mark off that they read it correctly, and if they had an error, and then I would have to put it into a drill deck, and then I would want to make sure that they've read it correctly a number of times. And it was always these, keeping check marks, and this is how I do it now, and it's so much easier, so I want to share this. I put the words from the first 1,000 fry words, 20 per page on Google Slides. And so I have 20 words on each page, and I have it labeled here 1 through 20. And when I have it like this, it's easy for me to record where my students are with these words. Now, this is not for my very beginning students when I'm actually teaching the first, several fry words or high frequency words, whichever list you're using. This is for perhaps an older student who's had gaps, and I want to assess where they are, what they know, what they don't know, and just make sure that they can read all of these high frequency words. So I'll have them read on this list, and I have 20 on the page. And what I like is this is a chart, and each cell in the chart is individually editable. So what I do is, for instance, here, if my student has misread this word, I can come in here and fill it. Where's my fill? There, I can fill it. Their favorite color, purple or yellow or blue or whatever it is, like this. And in addition, we can talk about it and say, what was the tricky part here? And we can say it was the A that was tricky. I might do that and highlight that letter by itself. There we go. I might give them some clues and we can talk about the word and whatnot. But then the next time through, if you can see over here on the film strip, it's very easy for me to see which words I need to review. So it's like, okay, this one has this word here. I pop over to it. Here it is, and we're going to read it again. If my student reads it correctly, I can then change the fill up here in the fill. I can change the fill to a lighter color. And I know that the student has read it incorrectly. And I can make, by doing this, I can have 5 or 6, whatever I want, reminders that, okay, the student has read it correctly this time, it's read correctly again and again and again, until he's read it correctly, 5 or 6 times, whatever I choose, just based on where the check mark here is on the fill section. So I usually do 5 here and then work backwards, but whatever it is. But having the colors here and the check marks, this becomes my recording for that the students have read these, have missed a word, and then are able to read it correctly. And then I can go through and I can, if it was a multi-syllable word, I can come in here and syllabicate by putting a space in there. Whatever it is I need to do, it is editable. I make a copy of this for each one of my students, so that for this student, this is the copy, and it's just a file. It doesn't take any space at all. And I can go through. And so let's say if my student has misread this, let me get rid of this there. I can have the next page be here, a lined paper. And for this, I don't like to have it in present mode, because when I want to edit the fill, that has to be in edit mode. But what I do is I come up here to the view, and this is one of their new features, this show film strip. I can turn that off and make it bigger, so we don't see all of this here, and it's still editable. But on my next one here, I come in and use, whether you have a touch screen, or for me, I do it on my iPad, and I can write on it. using edit, and my student can use annotate. However it is, sorry, I use annotate or use Epic Pen also. And I can write on it and say, okay, our word was. What are the sounds you hear? And actually, okay, I had a w, z, and what do we use to spell these sounds? We have the w, and okay, that's the W, correct. And the that was the tricky one. Do you remember what we used to spell in the word was? And we used the A. That was the tricky part, right? Was, oh, and it's the Z sound. But what is the most common way to spell Z at the end of a word? That's right, it's a S. So we can do this, and I can write it. I can talk about letter formation, whatever it is I need to talk about with that student. I just do it right here within the same deck, within the same space. And I can annotate. I can have my student annotate on it and say, okay, what was the tricky part for you? Go ahead, draw your heart on it, and whatnot. But I put that in here to help me as I'm teaching these or reteaching or reviewing these high frequency words. And then I've got the next list, and I'll do the same thing. And when I have my students that I've been working with for a while, I can see the film strip ahead of time and say, okay, I can see these. I can go directly, if I keep the film strip up, I can go directly and go from screen to screen and say, okay, I had one here and I had one here, or two here, and we'll review this. And I just put another paper every few slides, so it's easy to get to a paper when I need it. So that's what I do to review the high frequency words. So I keep my record of when, or rather that they have read the word correctly, that they've misread it, and then they've read it correctly. That I know they've read it correctly for 5 instances after that. And then of course we'll review every once in a while, review everything just to make sure. And then there's a place down here I can make notes to myself. And of course, as a Google document, there's also comments, but I tend to just write something down in here for me as I'm working with the student. That's the easy way to do it. So I hope this helps you. I'm sharing this free in my TPT store, so go grab a copy of it there if it's helpful. I am reorganizing all of the Frye by phonetic pattern, and that one's taken me a while, but I'll have that eventually. Okay, hope that helps. Bye.